Hello, and thank you for visiting today. Our personal guest today is Miss Maria, how you pronounce it?
Iberra.
Ibarra. She is the HUD counselor here, and she's going to share information with you that I think is very important because there's a lot of information that she has that a lot of people are not even aware of. So, Miss Maria, thank you
Good
for
morning.
taking this time for us with us this
Thank you
morning.
for having me today.
Well, tell me something. Tell me about yourself first,
Okay.
and then maybe a little bit about the business that you're
Okay,
in.
wonderful. Well, I'm a certified HUD housing counselor here with Mid-City Redevelopment Alliance.
Okay.
Mid-City Redevelopment Alliance is a nonprofit organization that's also HUD certified, located within Mid-City Baton Rouge. Now, we service all areas of Louisiana, not just Mid-City nor Mid-City Baton Rouge, but all areas of the state.
Okay. Now tell me a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, as a HUD housing counselor, my background comes from mortgage lending. I was in mortgage originating for over 12 years. Before that, I also processed loans as well. Before that, I dabbled a little bit in insurance and then worked for a title attorney.
Okay.
So that was my beginning in real estate, really.
In real estate.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as a HUD counselor, just what information or services you share with the community?
Okay. Well, the services that we provide as a HUD certified organization is we do first time home buying education classes, which are certified. So our attendees that attend our HUD buying home education classes not only learn the process of buying a house with educated knowledge, with educated decision, they also receive a certificate, a HUD certificate from these educational classes. These certificates they can apply towards any grant programs that are available through their city, through the state, that help people in buying homes for first-time home buyers. It can sometimes help with closing costs, down payment. There are many different types of grants that are out there, but you do have to have that HUD certification in order to participate in a grant program for home buying.
Okay, so when you present that certificate, that makes them eligible to get a grant?
That makes them eligible. They still have to qualify, of course, like everybody and every organization does for any federal grants.
Yes.
But with that certification, that is one of the qualifications for getting approved for any grant
Okay, well, I tell you
of
what,
that nature.
that's a lot of information right there.
Yeah.
What other services you offer besides the
Okay.
grant side?
Well, we do also different financial literacies throughout the months. They'll be on ranging topics from credit, rehab to financial literacies such as budget, savings. Sometimes we'll have speakers come in. We'll do an array of topics such as taxes for people to just have basic tax knowledge. We do things such as investments. We'll have an investment broker come in and do a little bit of a seminar on that.
Okay.
So we do. I do stay in my lane as a HUD counselor. So I do invite our partners, our business partners, to come in and speak when it's a topic that they specialize in.
Well, I'll tell you what, one topic you just mentioned, I think people are a little bit concerned about is credit.
Right.
Can you give me some information about the credit side?
Credit, that is the most wanted topic for me to speak on because it affects everyone in our country. Everything is based on our credit system. It comes back from the old bartering system a long time ago. That's how we traded goods with each other. We no longer have that system. We now have our credit system, our financial credit system. So basically what I do as a HUD counselor, I'm also a credit counselor, is I will meet with someone one-on-one as far as a credit session goes. I'll pull a tri-merge credit report on them, a financial tri-merge credit report, which shows all three credit bureaus on one report.
Okay.
I'll go over it entirely with my clients in a one-on-one session. So the counseling session is tailored to them and their specific credit needs.
Okay.
They are in the know. They get a copy of the tri-merge credit report to take with them with all of the notations, everything step by step of what they need to do to remedy and turn their credit situation completely around.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's one bit of information right there that people should be aware of. Because I know with the credit side, the one topic that they're looking at is the credit score.
Of course.
Normally, what kind of range are you looking at as far as credit score?
Well, As once again, as a HUD counselor, my perspective on credit shifts from the lending aspect. The lending aspect, they want to focus on the actual score,
Okay.
because that's what drives the deal, right?
Right.
They're looking for a particular score, they're driving for a particular score. So when clients apply for mortgage lending, they're told they need a particular score, right? As a HUD counselor, my perspective has shifted. It's no longer about the score, it's about the all over health of the credit.
Okay.
If the health is where it needs to be, those scores are going to follow.
Right.
The healthier the credit, each trade line that's appearing on that credit report, the stronger and the healthier the credit scores are.
Right.
And credit scores are used for everything that we do in life nowadays. Whether you're shopping for homeowners insurance, whether you're shopping for car insurance, any other type of insurances, credit pretty much determines what we are going to be accepted for in the financial world.
I'll tell you what, when it comes to the credit side, in counseling them, and you see some negative information, and you inform them of maybe the possible steps that they can take to raise their credit score. From my side of it, I think the average credit score that people look at is like around 640, maybe 620.
That's typically what the lenders are
that's what
looking for. At
yes.
a 640 middle score, and what that means is the middle of the 3 credit scores that are given by the credit bureaus. They're typically looking for at least a 640 middle score for like 100% financing. You're going to get your grants approved at a 640, and yes, you do have to qualify with credit for grants. There's no such thing as free government money. There's no such thing, and that's what unfortunate myth that a lot of my clients come to learn about is that there's no such thing as free government money. Unfortunately,
nothing's free.
Nothing's free. You have to prepare for it. So yes, you do have to qualify for the grant money with your credit and your income. So you do have to qualify for mortgage lending, and then you also have to qualify again for that governmental grant that you're trying to apply for.
Well, just for the sake of argument, I'm sure you've counseled enough consumers out there. What type of not consequences, let's just say people that you've worked with, how many have you seen where you have helped them achieve that score or 620 or whatever? What can you say, target one individual maybe that can say, well, this person took his credit information from here, following our direction
Absolutely.
to raise it.
Absolutely.
So in essence, I'm trying to say, how much success?
I can tell you 2 most successful stories that pretty much inspire people when they're looking at their credit situation when it comes to making financial decisions. One, I had one gentleman, I worked with him, I would have to say it's about maybe 9-10 months. His credit scores went up 99 points from simply following to a T every bit of advice that I advised him on manipulating his credit. And when I say manipulating credit, I mean working with credit based on instruction to be able to maneuver and move those credit scores where you want to have them. There are tricks of the trade behind it, but it's finding out the real facts of it.
Yes.
There's a lot of myths and rumors about credit.
Yes, it is.
A lot.
Because in one of the seminars that you did for me, you mentioned to the fact that there's no instant credit overnight.
Right.
Where you see these credit agencies, not credit companies online or even television tell you they can jump up their credit score from say 500 to 600 or 700, stuff like that. And usually about 6 months later, you find out
Right.
it was just more or less a scam.
Right. And that's another thing that we like to inform our clients of. There's no such thing as credit repair. That's a myth.
That's it.
And I come to understand credit repair from the lending side, what I was able to do as a mortgage lender. A lot of what these so-called credit repair companies do is they're simply hiding information, manipulating information temporarily on a temporary basis. It's not healing the credit. It is not a permanent solution, but people are, in some instances, able to hide certain financial information on the credit report. Sometimes it works when a person's trying to make a financial purchase, such as a credit card, such as an automobile. But when it comes to mortgage lending, that's a whole other different animal. Mortgage lenders will find that information
Yes,
that those
yes.
so-called credit repair companies are trying to hide. It won't work when it comes to buying a home.
Well, you have to really be careful about listening to people on television tell you how much they can repair your credit.
Right.
Over score. Now, another thing you mentioned about grants. When you say a grant, usually, what would be the maximum amount of grant would be given to an individual, say, for a down payment?
Well, all grants are different.
Okay.
It depends on where it's coming from, what it's being used for. All grants are different. They can be anywhere from 5,000 on up. Typically, what I see grants, and they all serve different purposes. They all have their own rules and regulations attached to them. So I've seen them start out about 5,000 on up. Some of our partnering banks and lenders have grants within those banks that were awarded within those banks. A lot of those grants have taken care of some of my clients, all of their down payment, all of their closing costs. Some of my clients have been able to walk away with a little bit of cash in their pocket from closing.
So basically, your clients are mainly into the middle class and
My clients range from the lower medium income to the highest.
To the highest.
There's no discrepancy of income. I see clients from the fixed incomes to wealthy of the wealthy that just want that educational knowledge, that know how to do it right.
Okay, because that's one bit of information that something else that people want to know about grants. I had the privilege of, I guess, about last year, I attended one of the seminars here in Baton Rouge and talking about the different grants and following counselors' advice, about how you, what you have to do in order to get a home and so forth. Well, the representative asked the question, how many in here, this is your first time? And a lot of hands went up. How many were here the pre-following year? One hand went up. Come to find out, he was the only one out of the whole group of last year that actually took advantage of your advice, of the advice, and they got a home.
Wow.
And my thing is, you mean to tell me this group we have today was about 40 or 50 people. Last year, I was assuming it was about the same. And out of that whole group, only one took advantage.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it's like saying, stop complaining. If you don't want to do the job, if you don't want to do the work,
Right.
why worry about getting the house? You think anybody's just going to give it to you?
Right. And that's my message as a HUD counselor. Educate yourself. Nobody is responsible, as adults, nobody is responsible for our own education. We are responsible. It's solely in our hands. And now education is at our fingertips, through our phones, through our computers. Any question that we have, it's always good to research and reference and cross-reference, especially when it comes on our financial issues. We definitely want to make wise and educated decisions. And going to proper sources for the proper information. For example, people that are wanting to monitor their credit, we advise them to go to annualcreditreport.com.
Right.
That's affiliated with all 3 credit bureaus versus using a third party, such as Credit Karma, for example, because they're not affiliated with the bureau. So people aren't getting the up-to-date information that they need to be able to maneuver and understand the credit. The credit reports that we provide is up to the minute, up to date. It's capturing that moment, that very moment. Third parties, it takes a few months for that information to filter over from the credit bureaus. And so they're actually having to order that information, but it's coming in a lot later, a few months later.
Okay, because even what you just said, there's a lot of information people are not aware of. Is there anything else that might be vital information that you may share?
With this other services that we also provide
Yes.
at Mid-City Redevelopment, we do foreclosure prevention also.
Foreclosure prevention.
Yes, sir. We're
Okay.
one of the few nonprofits in Louisiana that's actually handling foreclosure prevention. There are organizations, Lafayette, there are organizations in New Orleans, and then we're stationed in between the two in Baton Rouge that do foreclosure prevention. And that's for homeowners that typically fall behind in delinquency on their mortgage payments, or they're in foreclosure, or they're at risk of having their home foreclosed on in sheriff's sale.
Well, right now, there just recently I read an article where the VA started a program last year helping veterans with foreclosures. They were losing their homes because of illness or job loss or whatever life circumstances came up. And this year they're canceling it.
Yes, sir.
And you're looking at the veterans that's already in it, in the program, well, they're safe. But the 90,000 plus veterans that have been applying, they're out there on their own now in foreclosure.
Unfortunately, that does not surprise me.
No, well, I'll put it like this as personal testimony, okay? In the 80s, when the financial climate of the 80s, everything was a downturn, you know, people losing their, well, put it like this, general contractors went bankrupt in the housing industry. Well, guess what? These general contractors, I did work for. I did everything right. They owed me money, but because they went bankrupt, I had to go bankrupt. Well, I went to the VA and asked them to help me to stay in my home. And they gave a very cold response. Go talk with the mortgage company. So from that point on, I want to help veterans. If the veterans that in the Acadiana or Louisiana area is in that situation, I would like for them to get in contact with you.
Sure.
And hopefully trying to save their home, because we put the uniform on to protect our country, and we made sacrifices for it. And at the end, we're asking for our government in America to help us. And where is America?
Right. And I'm very familiar with that. I'm very familiar with that plight that should not be with veterans in this country. And we do deal with veterans that come in and they need assistance, or they're just needing the education for maybe a VA reason, for if they're working through a VA loan, or maybe they're refinancing their home. They come to us. They have to have that HUD certificate for those type of loan products. But HUD was cut, of course. We expected this. We expected these cuts. For example, my clients that have rural development loans.
Okay.
We're having problems as HUD counselors even getting through to USDA rural development departments, simply because they've made so many job cuts.
Good grief.
And they're having problems with people, customer service answering the phone. Well, if I can't get anyone on the line in the mortgage department or the loss mitigation department, my client, this is the ticking time bomb for my client on this end. And I can't simply get through on my client's behalf to investigate on what's going on with their mortgage. And that's the kind of service as HUD counseling agencies that we provide for foreclosure prevention. Is we basically do inquiries on the client's behalf. If there's a loss mitigation option for them, we discuss those options with them. But everything is through the lender. And if there's a repayment option, if there's a loss mitigation option, we try to be the mediator between the lender and the client to work out some kind of a solution.
Okay, because I know, even in my personal circumstance, I lost my home, but I hope no other veteran will be able to do that, experience that type of hardship that I went through. But they need to be aware of what is out there, and even to know that you even exist. To be honest with you, I've been in the Acadiana area for over 50 years, and there are a lot of organizations I was not even aware of because nobody would promote themselves.
Right.
You
And
know?
that's what we need is promotion. As nonprofits, we're out there and we're not promoted enough. And I advise all of my clients and everyone in my own personal life always turn to your nonprofits. Always support your nonprofit work.
Yeah.
You know, they're there to do good in the community, and they're not there for the revenue and the for-profit aspect. They're there to actually put out into the community and do good.
Well, putting out in the community, that's not bad. I do know that when I was working as a DVOP with the Louisiana Workforce Commission some years ago, my eyes were open to the fact that the VA have information about programs and processes, maybe opportunities that veterans are not even aware of.
Right, right.
And I guess you can say that was, with that realization, it became our mission to try to produce information or to share information with veterans.
Sure.
And in doing so, in your case, we also share information with the community as well. It doesn't, you don't just do veterans, you do everybody.
Everyone.
Okay. And I'm hoping that information that we are sharing will make an impact in somebody's life. Because for myself, doing Veterans Corner, this is a personal commitment that I have, and not for financial gain. Okay, some people don't believe that, but we've been operating since 2015. But the thing is, though, I want veterans to be aware of the fact that there's a lot of information out there. Get in touch with Miss Maria, or even get in contact with me, and see what we can do to help you. Because there's a lot of veterans out there that has additional barriers or roadblocks to deal with than the ordinary citizen. One of the barriers is the VA itself.
Yes, that is a barrier, and from my understanding, I'm not a veteran myself, but having family members and very close friends and so forth that are veterans, and many, but they're enlisted and also they're active, and then they're actual veterans, retired. Also, they all tell me the same thing, and it's every department of the VA.
Yes.
It's not enough.
Well, I tell you what, I hate to say this, but we're at the end of the interview.
Yeah.
And hopefully that Miss Maria will come on board once again in the future to share more information with us.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Miss Maria.
Thank you so much for having me today.
You take care. Be safe
you.
now. All right.
Thank you. You as well.
Goodbye.